How's everybody doing today? I wanted to wish everybody a late happy Thanksgiving and apologize for being off for quite a while here. I wanted to get back on track with some of these video logs. It's been real busy in the club, starting up a barbell club. We just finished up the USAPL State Championships, where I took first place in the 182-pound open raw division. A lot of our other lifters there, we had 3 first-time lifters and 2 other lifters go there. One setting a couple state records, 4 others taking first place in their divisions as well. So it was a really great meet for all of us. So between that and just 3 kids at 4 and under, it's been busy, but hopefully things are slowing down a little bit now with some things I've been working on for work and getting that barbell club sort of started and situated with some of that. I should free up some more time to hopefully get back on a weekly, if not, at least very least monthly video log update. So I wanted to talk about something I've touched on a little bit before, but talking with my younger brother over Thanksgiving that came up again in conversation. I actually had the same conversation with a member of the gym last week as well. So invariably when I talk with people about their weight or body composition, and normally it's really about weight. It should be about body composition, but most people don't really have a good tangible way to measure that. Your waistline is probably the best way to measure that if you don't have access to a bioelectrical impedance or device or skin fold measurements. Waist is a pretty telltale sign of whether you're getting fatter or leaner. But anyway, people usually will look at weight, and I'll get into that in a second here, whether or not that is really what we should be most concerned with in life. But the thing invariably comes up, I've been working out or I've been doing this, and I'm not losing weight. I don't think my younger brother mind, he's not on the internet, so I'll sort of share the story. He's talking about he's tried 6 meals a day, he's tried 1 meal a day, he's tried not eating at all, and he's just not losing weight, he's stuck at this weight. And I've heard that so many times in my career, with different people, and ultimately it really comes down to you have to have a baseline of how much food you're consuming. Everybody always thinks like they're not eating that much. They way underestimate their caloric consumption, but ultimately it doesn't matter. If you're not losing weight, you're overeating or you're being underactive, but ultimately you're not creating an energy deficit needed to lose weight. And what happens a lot of time, and I've done this with nutrition coaching clients, they'll give me food logs, and if they're being accurate in their food logs, which the data suggests most people aren't, not that they're intentionally being deceptive, but it just reports, statistics show that most people underreport how much food they eat. They overestimate the good food, they underestimate the less desirable food. So they're probably underestimating food in general, and their calorie count probably is actually higher than what it is on the food logs. But the point is that people, they'll eat really good, and well, I don't know if it's good or not, I would say probably it's not good, but they'll eat incredibly restrictive diets for 5, 7, 8, 9 days, and then they have one day where they just totally blow it up and sabotage it, whether that's with alcohol or just high-fat, high-carb foods that just throw all the work they did throws it out the window. There's a lot of other factors. Age, lean muscle or lean body tissue, activity level, hormonal levels, how much sleep you're getting. Those things are all going to impact how easily your body loses weight, or body fat more particularly. But we have to know how much food we're consuming in the first place. So you can try all the different meal plans, you can try all the different meal schedules. It doesn't matter. What matters is energy balance. And if you're not losing weight, 100% you are overeating or you're being underactive. So you can either increase your activity and maintain the food that the caloric intake you're currently consuming, or you can reduce your caloric intake. Both of those, though, require that you know how much you are currently consuming. There's no way around it. Unless you're somebody who's just easy for you to manipulate your body weight, in which case you probably aren't going to be having these questions, you're probably not going to be watching this video. It doesn't matter then. But for most people that are struggling with this, you're going to need to know the numbers. So unfortunately, at least for a period of time, you're going to have to track that. Now that can be with a tracking app like MyFitnessPal or Lose It, which to me are incredibly easy. Everybody's got a smartphone nowadays pretty much, or a tablet or something. It's not that hard to track it. If you actually care about it, it's really not that hard. The hardest part is just learning how to accurately measure or at least eyeball things, and I think that's what most people probably struggle with. You can put reminders in your phone to log your food, so it just takes a little bit of dedication and a little bit of adjustment to your schedule. The other thing, if you don't want to do that, is eyeballing and using your hands portion control, and if you're interested in that and sort of what you use for different portions of vegetables and proteins and things like that, comment on the video, and I can we can get a discussion going on that. I personally don't like that as much because it makes it harder to fit in some more processed foods or treats, which not that those should be the bulk of our diet. If you're trying to improve body composition, they should maybe be 10 to 20% max. But it is nice to be able to have some of those occasional treats and not feel like you're cheating and not feel like you're starving yourself from those things. So so ultimately, like I said, we need to have that caloric baseline, and then you can either decide, do I want to drop my food intake lower, or do I want to increase my activity? Sometimes increased activity is not practical, but reducing caloric intake is also not fun. So you just have to figure out what's going to work for you. Now, part two of this, and the second question that I would have you ask yourself is weight really the issue? Most people, when they talk about weight because it's easy to look at on a scale, but we need to understand a couple things. Number one, as we age, even the data, we have data going back to the 50s and 60s. For every decade of age, most people gain weight or have gained weight since the 50s. So it's not a new phenomenon, gaining weight as we age. Especially for women, as you have children and different things, and their hormone levels change. That's normal. That's fine, as long as it's not drastic. And then once we hit our 60s, actually the weight typically starts to drop back down. And that's where it gets on to my next point of, is weight loss really what we're after? Because ultimately, if you look at data of longevity and quality of life and maintaining activities of daily living, it's actually people that are actually have a BMI that's actually slightly higher, like in the 25 to 27 range, which according to BMI charts would have you as overweight. They actually fare better in older age. They're less likely to suffer from different frailty issues such as osteoporosis, and muscle loss, muscle wasting, and just not being able to get up and do things. Think of the old sort of decrepit lady that's got to use the walker and has to use the chair to get up on her feet from a seated position. That's a lack of muscle mass, a lack of strength, and that's what is going to really diminish your quality of life and sort of make things spiral downhill relatively quickly. So I would argue that, now if you're obese, by all means, get healthy, lose weight, but do it slowly, gradually, and sustainable. But otherwise, we really probably want to focus more on building strength, maintaining strength, building muscle mass, maintaining muscle mass, and just having our nutrition fuel those processes. What will happen long-term over time is our body composition is going to get better. Our waist is going to get smaller if we're overweight, if we're carrying an excess amount of body fat, and we will look better over time. But our weight might not change that much, or it might take a little while for it to change. I can't tell you how many people, for myself personally, over the last year and a half, have commented on, oh, are you dieting? Are you doing this? I did drop a weight class in powerlifting about this last year, and I've maintained a lower weight, and I haven't allowed my weight to fluctuate as much. But not that much has really changed. To me, it's a culmination of 17 years of not missing workouts, of eating for my goals. And the nutrition has gotten better. The programming I do with myself has gotten better over time, I think, and a little more educated. But it's nothing magical. It just takes a long time, and that doesn't sell. It's not, sexy. It doesn't sound cool. It's not, some trendy diet or meal plan or workout program. It's just doing it, whatever your workout schedule is. If it's 3 days a week, 2 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever it is, doing that every week, every month, every year, every decade. People just can't think that far out, I think, a lot of time. And the same thing with nutrition. So what that gets down to is it has to be sustainable and attainable in order for those things to happen. So focusing more on body composition, and if weight decreases while your body composition improves, fantastic. But if we're losing weight and we're losing lean tissue in the process, we're losing strength in the process, that's a recipe for poor quality of life. So, if you want to get into that dress, or look a certain way in that bathing suit this summer, that's more important to you than what your quality of life is from age 60 to 80 or however long you hope or intend to live, by all means, waste away your muscle mass, starve yourself, go on these super restrictive diets and trendy meal plans and, do cardio till your, muscles wither away. But that's not going to be great for long-term success. And there's a better way through tracking your nutrition, being aware of your nutrition, but making sure that we're, getting in strength training, that we're always getting stronger or maintaining our strength. And that can be on different exercises. It doesn't have to be on, squat, bench, and deadlift. Those are things that I'm sort of partial to as a power lifter. That's my passion. But it can be on a lot of different exercises. But you need to get stronger. You need to maintain your strength. Your lean tissue should at the very least be maintained, if not increased, up until, as long as we can increase it, the better. The more research we have, the more sort of incredible things large amounts of muscle and lean tissue tend to do for us, at least in a drug-free population. It's not, enhanced with, anabolic steroids. That's a whole other issue as far as health concerns go. But those things are going to improve our quality of life. On the nutrition side, being aware of what our caloric intake is, not getting overboard with it, but fueling ourselves for our hard workouts to improve strength, to improve lean tissue, making sure we're getting enough protein intake. There's a number of different ways you can figure that, but anywhere from 0.8 up to, a little, 1.2 grams per pound of body weight for a lot of people if you're not, obese, or around 25 to 35% of total caloric intake or energy should come from protein, and that's going to, sort of maximize our benefits from that. Getting enough fiber, anywhere from 25 up to 75 grams. Most women tend to do better around 35 grams, men typically around 45 grams, but if you focus on those things, the rest can sort of just fall where it will based on food preference and, what's doable for you. But I guess that's sort of a little random, just jumped all over the place a little bit there. But like I said, focus on, being aware. If you're trying to improve body composition, you have to be aware of your total energy intake, protein intake, fiber intake. Focus on those things. Focus on being consistent with nutrition and exercise. At least 3 days a week, ideally, 3 to 5 days is best for most people. At least squeeze in no matter what, 2 days. But focusing on getting stronger, getting better in trackable ways. Track your body comp with waist measurements. At least, if you have access to having your body composition actually measured by somebody or by a device, even if it's a slightly inaccurate device, is better than nothing. Start there and think long term. Get out of this, by spring break, by my trip to Cancun. That mentality is just going to set you up for yo-yo dieting, which more and more research is showing, makes us lose more muscle, more prone to gain fat, and it's just a recipe for bad things for long-term success. Hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving, have a great weekend, and happy holidays going up to Christmas.